cozy drink, well, or a cool drink. It's very warm here. I'm not wearing any knitting wear today, but I do have a nice cup of black coffee to enjoy. So I have not been working on a little bit of everything over this past, since I last recorded. I've mostly been working on socks and my Florally tops. So I'd like to show you the progress I've made on those today, and then I would also like to chat a little bit about some future knitting projects that I have purchased yarn for and I'm excited to cast on. So let's get started. Alright, my one finished object today, which you probably knew if you watched last week's episode. Oh, I finished the socks. Yeah. So. This was knit with the Up North yarns in the color Funkadelic. She's a local to me dyer, and I'm so happy to have those done. Working on are still whips. I do have. We're getting really close on, but here's where we are on these ones that I'm knitting for my son. And this was in a, let's see, I'm sure I have the tag here still. These are the Wolvian in the color 22. Yeah, so I'm just using hand-dyed red for a little pop of color on the cuff and for the toes. And I'm knitting these up for my son, who has a birthday in October, so they may be a birthday gift, or I might hold on to them for Christmas. We'll see. Just a little something extra, because, you know, kids, he's 18 now, but I'm sure he's not super thrilled to get a pair of hand knit socks for, he will appreciate that, but, you know, that's not going to be the main gift. Alright, so then I also finished one of my packer socks. That's so exciting. I have cast on, just barely started on the ribbing for the second, and oh boy do I have a lot of ends to weave in for this. And I do think after, I'll probably block these socks to see if we can get that line a little smoother. There's just, you know, it's still off a jog, even though I did the trick of on the second round for the color switch, you pick up the stitch from the row below and knit it together with the first stitch from the second row. And yeah, I don't know if maybe I should have just left it and not worried about the color joins. I'm not sure if that would have been better or worse, so let me know if you have a lot of experience of knitting stripes this way and what your feelings on it. I'd love to hear some opinions. But yeah, I'll turn it inside out so you can see I did start weaving in some ends, but oh man, there's a lot of ends to weave in. But you know, I'm using up some scraps, so I'm pretty happy about it. And one day I'll just be in the mood and I'll just weave in all the ends and it'll be fine. Today is probably not that day. You never know. Okay, so that is it for my socks. I have resisted casting on a new pair since I finished the third. Really my focus has been on my Florally top, and let me show you where I've gotten on that, and I'll insert a picture I did just yesterday. Join it in the round. Now this is the back with all the lace work. So I first showed you this last podcast. Start weaving in some ends, but oh man, there's a lot of ends to weave in. But you know, I'm using up some scraps, so I'm pretty happy about it. And one day I'll just be in the mood and I'll just weave in all the ends and it'll be fine. Today is probably not that day. You never know. Okay, so that is it for my socks. I have resisted casting on a new pair since I finished the third. Really my focus has been on my Florally top, and let me show you where I've gotten on that, and I'll insert a picture I did just yesterday join it in the round. Now this is the back with all the lace work. So I first showed you this last podcast and I cast on too many stitches, so I didn't read the pattern diligently and I misread how many stitches I was supposed to cast on, and I had way too many. So yes, I have basically redone the entire right side panel. Oh, I guess this is the right side. No. Right side panel, left side panel, and front. And then yesterday I joined them in the round and I did try it on. I put it on. I had longer needles on. I did take it apart after because it's easier for me to knit. If it's squished together, I'd rather have too many stitches than have to wriggle the stitches around the needle constantly. So yeah, I did try it on, and I mean I maybe have 6 or 7 rounds under the arm here. So yeah, that's as far as I've gotten. And the only thing that I did do differently than the pattern says is it had you cast on only, it is a free pattern so I can tell you, but it had you only cast on 3 underarm stitches to join in the round, and I did cast on 5. So I do have 2 extra stitches on each side. I was very concerned that it was going to be too tight and too shallow, but you know what, I tried it on and it fit perfect. I should have just believed my measurements and had faith in the pattern, but it's okay. It doesn't bother me that there's 2 extra stitches. I mean, it's just straight knitting down to the bottom, so no big deal. It's not going to be like too loose on me or anything, I don't think. So yeah, I'm excited to continue working on this. It's going to be pretty straightforward. So I mentioned that I might turn it into long sleeve, but I don't think I will do that. We'll see how it fits once I finish, and I would have to, of course, get another skein of yarn if I decided to do that. But there is just an I-cord finish for the sleeves, and you make some ties and go around the neckline and make a tie for the other side, so you can tie the little, I just have it pinned with a little light bulb stitch marker right now, so it's not flopping all over as I'm knitting it. But yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I'm knitting it in. To wind up another skein because I'm almost done with the one that I'm working on, the first one. So this is Moonspun Wool, which is our local yarn store, and she also dyes yarn. But this is the color clay. It is their 9010 superwash merino linen, and there is a 400 yards to 100 grams. It is a single ply fingering weight yarn. However, I was pretty confident I could get a sport weight gauge. The pattern calls for sport weight yarn, and my gauge is spot on with the called for needle and yarns. I'm knitting with I believe a size 4. Let me take a look here. I'm knitting with my new needle set, of course. Yes, size 4, 3.5 millimeter. So yeah, I'm really excited how that's coming along. It's even better than I imagined. And so that leads me into, I guess these are a little more than dream knits since I did purchase yarn, but I did add them to my Ravelry queue, and I will have my Ravelry account linked below if you want to check out. I'm pretty good at updating. I don't always update weekly or anything like that, but I'll get caught up if I have a lull in updating. So the first thing that I bought yarn for, and I'll share that as an acquisition next time. It should be here next time, so I won't talk about what yarn I ordered today, but I'll just talk about the patterns that I'm wanting to knit. So the first one is called the Ship Shape Crew Neck by Heidi Kiermaier, and I saw this pattern being knit by Tracy, or is it Tracy? I forget which one. One of the grocery girls, I think it is Tracy. And she had knit this up in a red, and let's see if I can get that to show. Maybe I'll just put a picture on the screen. I'm not sure if that's coming through or if it's blown out. And she knitted up in a beautiful red and like a tan color, and I just absolutely loved the construction with the striping, the little striped triangles on the shoulders. And so I did order some yarn to knit this, and it's probably going to be my next cast on. We'll see. So then I thought, well, do I have any yarn in my stash that I can use for another sweater? And last fall, when I was looking through my stash and trying to stash bust a little bit, which I don't have a huge yarn stash. I have a lot of scraps because I knit little bonnets and stuff a lot, so I have a lot of partial skeins and stuff, but I don't have like a lot of sweaters quantities in my stash, just a few. So I thought, well, what can I do? And I came across the frame sweater by Andrea Mowry, and I absolutely loved it. It is a little cropped for my liking, so I'm probably going to try to lengthen it, which might mean that I'm going to have to get another yarn, but that's okay. They carry this in my local yarn store, and I know she's got at least this pumpkin, is it pumpkin patch? Yes, pumpkin patch colorway. But yeah, I'm going to use this Making Tracks by Junction Fiber Mill, and I have to relook at the pattern. I'm not sure if I'm just going to go ahead and purchase one more, but I think I'm going to do another skein of the pumpkin patch, and I'll do the this one is Leaves in the Brook, and I think I'll do this one in the middle and kind of do like the pumpkin patch, the Leaves in the Brook, and some more pumpkin patch, because like I said, the pattern is quite cropped, and I just really wear a lot of pants. I don't wear a lot of skirts and dresses where I would feel comfortable having a cropped sweater. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But I ordered the, there's a contrast color, or a main color, I guess, for the top and the cuffs. And yeah, it's kind of like her signature style of sweater where I think she's got a 3-needle bind off and sort of a boat neck style. So I haven't knit anything with that sort of style, so I'm excited to try something new, of course. And then just like a cream main color for the color work, contrast color. So yeah, I'm excited to get started on these projects, and this one I think I probably will cast on a little later in the fall. But again, I'll show you some more when the yarn comes in. It'll be an acquisition for next video. And yeah, so I haven't been working on any of my other projects really. I was really wanting to get those socks done, and then the florally top, because it's gonna be a short wearing season once I get that finished. So unless I do decide to add on sleeves, which that's kind of up in the air right now. I'm leaning no, but we'll see how much use I actually get out of it. You know, it's usually really hot here or really cold here. The in-between seasons are pretty short, so like I mentioned before, I'm not sure that I'll get a lot of use out of it if it's short sleeve, but it's actually a beautiful top, and I don't know if long sleeves would ruin the aesthetic of it. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your next projects are going to be, what you're working on finishing up. I think also I'm going to try to finish up my shift again pretty soon. There's no fire because I can't wear it for a while yet when the weather cools down a little bit. But it would be nice to have one more project off my needles. So like I mentioned last time, I was feeling slightly overwhelmed at the amount of whips for the first time. It was very exciting to I think this is the most I've ever had on my needles at once, so it was very exciting to cast them all on and get them going. But then I did start feeling slightly overwhelmed by the amount that I have in progress. But it is kind of also nice to be able to pick up and knit whatever you feel like working on at the time when you have so many choices. I think I got to the point where there wasn't any straight knitting on my socks. They all kind of came to the heel at the same time, so maybe that was it. So we'll have to see how having this many projects fares going forward. I do have one less this week, so that's great. And I'm really excited about my florally top and the progress I've made on that. That's a lot of knitting. It's, it is a fingering weight yarn. Well, it's knit at a sport weight gauge, but that's still, it takes a long time to knit a sport weight sweater. So anyhow, I hope that you have a great rest of your day, a great week until we meet again. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, I'd love to hear what